All right, so I'm standing out in front of 8,000 Canton Avenue, and I'd like to just kind of point out the neighborhood a little bit first. And there's Mendel Drive at the corner of Canton, little turnaround there, four-way stop. You're on top of a viaduct right next. Here's the street I came down to get here. All little mid-century homes, most of them with carports, some of them with garages. Ours has a carport, and you're sitting right next to this viaduct. So this little area here, I'll have to look at the map and see exactly what it is, but you can see this water. I don't expect that it ever really breaches that retaining wall that's on there. A little bit of cleanup. We walk a little closer to the house on the north side of the house. Some tall grasses, electric meter. Your service entry into there's a couple issues with this. So here's where Ameren, the triplex goes over that viaduct. Hopefully you can see this on camera. I know it's kind of bright out here. But what you're supposed to have there where it connects is it's supposed to be a drip loop that keeps the water from entering into that weatherhead that connects to the house. That service line, and those are the three wires that come in. The service line from there to the meter all the way into the box is part of the house. That's the owner's responsibility. It seems to be somewhat frayed. So we can see a little bit closer if I get right up on it. But that's a common thing. That's a couple grand to fix. Depending on whether you have to replace the panel or not. But with that drip loop missing, water tends to get inside the panel. The panel's rusted out. You don't find out until inspections when you unscrew the front of the panel. There's a little bit of ice here left over from this week. And a lot of offset in the driveway. A couple little sections where the moisture's getting underneath. Let's go through the carport. This concrete's in better shape, but not perfect. Looking straight at the porch. Porch is enclosed. It looks to be fairly newly enclosed. Still some of the leftover paint there, and then an aluminum top on this little patio here. Let's step down into the backyard. Nice big backyard. There's oyster grass. I know we got some issues here in the back. Definitely not move-in ready. The biggest ones I see, you've got possibly some bowing in the foundation. Or at least it's hard to tell from out here. This back stairs is a mess. The railing's all rusted and went through. And then on this side, our chimney, half the bricks are pretty beaten up there. Got an old antenna attached to it. But those bricks are really chipped on the side. Tuck pointing seems to be intact, but there are some cracks on the crown of that, or on the very top. It's hard to see, and I don't know that you're going to catch that on camera because I'm not right up on it, but I can already see the cracks right underneath that terracotta flue. The flue cap's on there just fine, but right below that is the cement that they use to enclose that whole chimney. So I'm going to zero in on what I'm talking about. Is right in the center of the screen there. And as you without repairing, that allows moisture inside. Got a few voids, not many, but a couple of voids in the tuck pointing as well. A house this age shouldn't have that. So a few spot tuck pointing issues. The electric box here on the back looks pretty bad, and the AC unit's pretty beat up. The coils have been flattened and nicked with trimmers, etc. So already, see some pretty expensive and extensive fixes before we even get inside. Here we're going to get a little closer to this electric meter. You see this drip loop here, that should have some drop to it. It shouldn't go straight into that weatherhead there, and the weatherhead's missing the top of it. So I guarantee you're getting some water that's trickling down this wire. This service line being frayed, you see even the connections are rusted. It's a newer meter, but this service line's not going to fly when you get a home inspector in here. Big tree, that's over your communication lines. It's not really affecting anything, but it doesn't look super healthy. A lot of limbs that have broken off already, and the tree really looks like it needs to come down. So I'm going to pause while I get us inside. Okay, so we're walking inside. Again, this is 8,000 Canton. I can already smell issues, mustiness, and probably foundation issues. And I feel a little bit of a twist or a bump in the middle of the floor. You see, this is midst rehab. An interesting ceiling there. They kind of experimented with some design work in the mid-50s. We're gonna take, here's a closet missing a door. We don't really know where any of this stuff is. It's just stuff thrown around somebody started. There's your back door. Dead bolted. I'm going to go through the upstairs of the house. They busted through the concrete there. That's a thick wall. Busted through to get that electric work in. Floors are in need of repair. They probably can still be finished even though they're covered in gunk. Bathroom's gutted. They got another little powder room off the kitchen there. Or no, I'm sorry, off the main bedroom. All right, so go through some materials here. Smaller bedroom, exactly what you'd expect. This layout is all over St. Louis. Most of them have the tub installed instead of sitting in the second bedroom. Lots of light, newer windows, double hung windows, look to be brand new. Doors missing throughout. This little crackle here, this might even be, it's drywall, but in the early 50s, they were plastered over the drywall, so there might be cracks that are just coming through where that's been busted up a few times. Here's your main bathroom. Well, it's going to be a little more than a powder room. They put this in. They've got this little vanity in here, so not a full bathroom. You know, the roof seems to be in good shape from what I can tell from the outside, but you're a good, let's call it 25 grand before you can even get occupancy in this thing. Basement's gonna be pretty tore up. I'll flip on the light here. Try not to die on my way down here. So yeah, they've got the framing up. That's painted, that's not, almost looks like the back of old drywall, but it's not. This is the wall that I would expect there to be issues, and I see some remnants. But I don't see any cracks. Nothing on the corners. There's your water service from the county or from the city with pressure on it. Here's where all the water's run down towards that mid drain there that is framed for more rooms down here. Someone like there for a lot of people like to chop these basements up instead of making them one big finished area. There's still left the furrowing on the ceiling. If you wanted to finish out the basement, you could. This is the old 9-inch tile. There is some of it coming up, and when you see it come up and you see that black glue underneath it, those are all tells. It doesn't necessarily, I'm no expert, so when it comes to asbestos, but these are all the tells that would indicate that it is asbestos. Electric panel, we mentioned that service line, so since the panel cover's off, we can see that we don't have that issue I thought we would, where it's rusted out on the inside. And if we did, they've taken care of it by replacing the panel. But looking at the panel, I think it's in pretty good shape. That service line is just at the end of its useful life. All right, well, door to nowhere. Let's go through here. There we see a good old-fashioned crack off the window. This happens to be where most of them happen. This is almost looks like it was just very small, and all they tried to just paint or put some silicone on it. I don't see any major signs of weeping or anything. It seems a lot less likely to leak than the other wall. But this is the wall that's in the background, so the backyard. So this wall I'm facing now, where the electric panel is, obviously is the wall next to that viaduct. So if you had any hydrostatic pressure or large amount of, if the water table was pretty high on this, you could see a lot more cracking. I don't see any signs of cracks in the foundation. It's just been neglected. These windows are rusted out, need to be replaced. Got a PVC stack, that's a plus. Recently dug out. But you're gonna have cast iron underneath because I see no evidence that they've busted through the basement. Lots of rust on the ductwork. This is obviously not fully connected because the flue's disconnected. Looks like they're in the middle of that project there. And this is, you know, a lot of rust on here. It's probably 20, 25 years old. A lot of PEX plumbing. We've done some work to it. And yeah, so this is got a ways to go before it's moving ready. This is the part I don't really understand, is the water coming from the sides here, and unless they had something inside, like a fish tank or something that was putting that water, I don't see any signs of cracks or any signs that it came over the top of the foundation. That's kind of interesting, but it's all gone that way. And whatever originated from this spot here, whether that was a leaky refrigerator that sat there one time or whatever that originated here, that could be coming from up above. Since we're right below the hallway, not the kitchen, so it's a mystery. As we come back up into the sunshine, that was 8,000 Canton. So if you're interested in further information, let me know, but I'm going to guarantee this one's sold as is.